Welcome to my channel where I teach you all things pole. In today's video, I would like to show you the most simple way how you can start pole dancing, which is walk. So you might think, well, it's just a walk. What's so special about it? Personally, when I first approached the pole, it kind of just sets the tone for what I'm about to do after. And I like to use the pole walk as a way of dropping in and tuning into my body before I start to go crazy on the pole. So as simple as it seems, there is definitely a few things to it. So we'll go over the different things that need to be in place for you in order for you to feel confident in your walk, and then we'll look at a few things that will help you to develop your own style of walking. And yeah, as always with any trick, there is not really right or wrong way of doing it. This is just my way, how I like to do it. And if you like it, then great. If you don't, that's also good. So stick around and I'll show you how we can make this super pretty. Beautiful. So if we're ready to learn our pole walk, first thing we'll do, we're gonna pop onto our tippy toes and bring our inside hand nice and high. So a few things here. When I'm on my tippy toes, you will not be able to see because of my pants. So what I'll do, just make a little nappy. And so when I'm coming up high on my tippy toes, aka balancing on the front of my foot, aka on the ball of my foot, when I rise up, I'm really thinking about keeping a nice straight line from the ankle up to the knee, up to the hip. So what this does, it stacks the joints the most efficiently over each other, which will mean that you will have a nice straight line that will make it will make it easier to balance, okay? So as you can see, my ankles are in one straight line with all the other joints. What we try to avoid is having floppy ankles. So if you do feel like your ankles do tend to be a bit wobbly, it will be most likely because they're weak. So I will have specific videos for you to be able to strengthen your feet, ankles, and calves in order to feel more confident in staying on your tippy toes for longer. So you can check those out later. And so when I rise up on my tippy toes, I'll let my pants go now. I rise up on my tippy toes, nice straight line, and I'm really feeling into the pressure that I'm creating by being on the tippy toes. So the pressure goes back into the ground, so energy into the floor, yeah, to help me to stay nice and high. You might feel that as you go around, you will start to lose the height. So just keep that in mind, and then every so often push up again, okay? So we've got that. And then my inside arm is reaching nice and high, wrapping my wrist around the pole. Few things here as well. What tends to happen a lot is people, because they're nervous or because they're scared, they might have a tendency to grip really, really tight. So because we're not doing anything that requires an extreme grip, which usually that would not be the way of doing things anyway, we want to grip the pole nice and secure, okay? So my hand is there, it's supporting me, it's holding and pulling the pole down slightly, but it's not so tight that I am over gripping and my hand can barely move, okay? So nice secure grip, but don't overdo it. And when I'm holding the pole, my arm is straight, but I am not overreaching or sagging through my shoulder, okay? I am thinking about pulling the pole down towards me slightly. Again, we don't need a lot of grip here. We are just walking around. So it's just there to keep us balanced. one thing that also tends to happen when people do not know how to engage their shoulders is that they will grip again, they will over grip with their hand and their wrist, but the rest of the hand is dead. And when I say dead, I mean there's no engagement from the hand down to the shoulder. So I'm thinking about a line of energy from the shoulder down to the hand. So there's a line of tension between me and the pole. So those are the most important things to start with. And once you start walking, it will all start to make sense. Okay. So I like to always start with my inside leg, but as always, there are exceptions. Put my inside leg out first and then make my way all the way around the pole. Okay. Do not think about anything else. Just think about pushing the floor away, standing nice and high on the tippy toes, having the arm there to support you, but not, holding it so tight that your hands seize up. Let's do that again. So inside leg first. Beautiful. And because we want to keep things balanced, we're going to do the other side. So here we go. Same thing. I'm going to reach out with my inside leg first. And make a full circle. And again. Beautiful. So the next thing we can look at is what our hips are doing in relation to our hand and the pole. So when I'm standing nice and high on my tippy toes, reaching out with my inside arm, I am following the way of the pole, which is around in a circle. So when I go around, I could just be walking in a circle, but it's just a little bit boring. So still gonna walk in a circle, but this time I'm gonna bring my feet just a little bit closer. So close the circle just a little bit, make it a little bit tighter. And now I'm gonna lean away with my hips. So when I do so, my hips go out to the side. So you can now see there is more space between me and the pole, and there is more tension between me and the pole across the whole arm. Okay, so as you can see this, you should be able to see this visually, that when I lean away, my arm is now way more active. Okay, so that is going to be really important, that the whole arm is active, that again, we're not just hanging off of the hand and inevitably just hanging off the shoulder. Okay, so you'll have to just activate that whole arm a little bit more. What that means is using your muscles to create this exchange. Okay, so again, start with my inside leg. Now we know we're gonna close the circle just a little bit and then lean our hips away when we do so. So inside first. Beautiful. And then you can turn to the other side and walk the other way. I'm gonna walk all the way just so I can see you. There we go. Also, if you find that the inside arm is sliding down the more you walk, nothing easier than just bring it back up. It's normal. So every few steps or so, the hand will slide down because we're not over gripping. So I'm just gonna bring him back up. So as you can see, by leaning the hips away, it's already taken shape. So as I'm walking around, I'm leaning my hips away. There is energy exchange in the whole arm between me and the pole. This is a little bit tricky for people to wrap their head around. So when I walk, my hips eventually, once you get more comfortable, it's at the tiniest dip into whatever leg is taking the weight at the front. So if I start with my inside, I am gonna lean, and because I need to take that step and my weight will go into that step, right? So I'm putting weight into that leg so I can also create a little bit more pressure to go into the hip to to push it out a little bit. And what that does, if you keep doing that back and forth between one leg and the other leg, it would start to look more like a hip swing, I guess. So it's, as long as we're leaning, it's already looking a little bit more stylized, but then I can also start to play with what my hips are doing. Okay, do you see the difference? So this might take a few tries, so please just give yourself time to make it feel good in your body. We are now pretty much there, but I'm going to show you a few ways how you can also walk with different ways of using your feet. So first and foremost, before I forget, so one thing that I didn't realize for a while is that when I'm walking around the pole, I am using my inside foot to dictate the direction of where I'm going. So what I mean by that, I'm gonna try to lift this up. When I take my step with my inside leg, this applies to the whole time that you're walking around. So if we are following the way of the pole, my foot will then turn out and I will turn from the, basically starts from the hip, then the knee opens out externally, and then the foot will turn out as last. And that basically already puts me in a place that is circular. Instead, if I just took a step forward and then try to go, it's almost like I have to walk over my feet. So I feel like that would make it tricky because we are trying to walk in a very tight circle. So try that, starting from the hip, knee, foot, the whole leg turning towards the pole, and then the other foot just follows. And then inside again, and other follows. So there's a few things we've covered, so let's try to put it all together. Yeah. Starting with my inside foot, inside arm nice and high, line of energy coming from the hand down to the shoulder, leaning my hips away, and turning around the pole with my inside foot. Ready? And swap. There we go. My tips for you, if you would like to keep working on making this just more of an elevated look. I love to think about a nice posture when I do this. I feel like it almost comes naturally because suddenly, you know, you just feel a little proud and quite confident. So, but if you don't, that's okay. Don't worry, it'll come. So to help you to feel more confident, proud chest, I keep my head lifted. I think about a long neck, pulling my ears away from my shoulders. And you could either have the chin pointing down while still maintaining the long neck, or you could lift the chin up. This will highly depend on what vibe are you trying to translate, right? So I could be, let's say I've got my chin up, long neck, proud chest, and when I'm walking, this is also very dependent on what look you're going for. You could be looking forward. I mean, if there's people in the room, you could be looking around in people's eyes. Very intimidating at first. You could also be looking to the side. You could be looking slightly behind you, aka over your shoulder. You could also be looking up, right? I could be looking around. There's so many ways how you can make this yours. And again, depending on the vibe that you're trying to go for. And then lastly, I will not be able to do this without holding the microphone. But when I'm walking around and I've got this hand free, when you get more comfortable experimenting with, you know, just making this more bougie, I guess. I don't know, was looking for the right word, couldn't find it. You can really start to play with Oh, just there's so many different things you could do with the outside hand. You could drag it on the side up to your head and play with your hair. If you got your hair down, you can, look cheeky. So this could kind of be a bit of a loop. So you go up, you go down, you go up, and you go down. You could also have the hand free and just sort of resting by your side. But when we do that, the hand has a nice line of energy again, all the way down to the wrist, and from the wrist down, it's nice and soft. So you can practice extending the arm. You'll feel the pull from the shoulder down to the wrist, but then from the wrist you can sort of make little waves just to get it nice and soft. And then once you're ready to go, you can think about holding a paintbrush. Yeah, so my hand is soft, no T-Rex arms. And then you can play around painting a rainbow. This could be anywhere. Could be just up and down. Could be to the side and in front of you. Yeah, so you get so many options. And that's pretty much it. Last thing I'll show you today. There's two main things that I usually teach people, which is a drag and a flamingo. So people usually prefer the drag because it's nice and easy. So what I do, I take my first step with my inside leg again, and then the other leg will follow, but I will drag it behind me, tucking my toes under really gently, so I'm not getting a skin burn. Okay, so weight in the front foot, drag, and then swap. Weight in the front foot, drag, and swap. Okay, and I really love this one because it's just really soft and feminine, so I really like this one. You can obviously don't have to do it slow. You can do this fast and, completely changes the vibe again. And then the other one is when I reach my leg up, then extend it from the knee, keeping my toes pointed, and then land it softly to take a step. So with this one, I already do it from the inside leg because it is the one that takes the first step. Okay, so leg goes up. I'm thinking nice sharp angle from the knee. Start extending, wait for the leg to be straight, and then float it down. What I see a lot of people struggling with this one is that they do it too fast, and then they end up sort of flailing their legs forward and sort of kicking into it instead. So that's why I put a lot of emphasis on slow and then wait for the knee to extend all the way down to the toes, point, and then float it down. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And there you go. So let's look at it all together. I'm just gonna sort of show you bits and bobs of how I usually do my walk, but most of what I've showed you here today is how I would teach this to somebody that has never touched a pole in their life. Okay, here we go. And there you go. Here's your walk. Congrats. if you enjoyed today's video, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.